Think you've mastered pain? This lineup toward the finest Soulslikes, from gothic hunts to sci-fi nightmares, mixing quick tips, personal war stories, and the meanest bosses worth meeting. Curious which challenge should ruin your weekend next? Stay with me. Opening our list today is the legendary Dark Souls Trilogy. The first game dropped in 2011, followed by Dark Souls 2 in 2014 and Dark Souls 3 in 2016. These games didn't just start a genre, they invented a whole new way to ruin weekends. From Software made sure that every step forward feels like an achievement, and every death feels, well, like the 100 before it. That's why the trilogy has to be here. The magic lies in the interconnected maps, the heavy but rewarding combat, and those bosses that feel like actual life exams. Strengths, endless lore, stunning level design, and the best kind of frustration. Weaknesses, let's be honest, clunky controls, unfair hitboxes, and moments where you wonder if the game just hates you personally. I still remember Ornstein and Smuff turning me into mashed potatoes at least 50 times. When I finally won, I celebrated louder than I probably should have at 2 a.m. Personally, Ornstein and Smuff ate weeks of my life. The Capra Demon plus dogs had me bargaining with fate. When victory finally landed, I yelled like a goal. How about you? Which boss broke you first? And which boss made you want to throw your controller out the window? Next on our list is Bloodborne, released in 2015 on PS4. If Dark Souls teaches patience, Bloodborne grabs your collar and says, drop the shield, dodge forward, and hit harder. Faster, meaner, and drenched in gothic horror. Its Victorian streets, cryptic lore, and twisted beasts turn every alley into a trap. That urgency is exactly why it belongs here. Strengths, razor-sharp, aggressive combat, brilliant trick weapons, and boss arenas that stick in your brain long after you quit. Weaknesses? A savage learning curve, opaque systems, and yes, those notorious launch day load times. Personally, Father Gascoigne taught me humility. I swear I learned the graveyard layout by heart before I finally clutched the win. The blood-starved beast also turned my controller into a stress ball. Have you walked the cursed streets of Yharnam yet? Which boss chewed you up the most, and did you ever try a parry that made you feel invincible for 5 seconds? The next game on our list is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, released in 2019. Unlike Dark Souls or Bloodborne, Sekiro removes RPG builds and heavy gear, putting all focus on timing and precision. Combat is fast, brutal, and built around perfect deflects that turn fights into intense duels. There's no hiding behind a shield. You must face every strike head-on, and that pressure is what makes the game so unforgettable. Its strengths include precise swordplay, stunning Sengoku-era Japan, and bosses that feel like epic duels. Weaknesses, a steep learning curve, little build variety, and stealth that feels secondary. For me, Genichiro was the real test. I must have fought him dozens of times before finally landing that last blow. And then came the Guardian Ape, screaming through a grotesque second phase that left me panic-rolling in every corner. So what about you? Did Sekiro test your patience, and which boss gave you the biggest headache? The next game on our list is Elden Ring, released in 2022. Oh, this is the Soulslike blown wide open. The lands between let you roam, get lost, and get humbled by field bosses. Difficulty comes from freedom. The game quietly says, prove it. Stance breaks, guard counters, and jump attacks reward courage. Every death nudges you to reroute, level, and try again. What shines? A vast world of secrets, flexible builds, and bosses that feel like events. The weak point of this game, I'd say some copied catacombs, uneven tuning, and a map that overwhelms early. Yet crest a hill on Torrent and the Erdtree floods the sky. Wow. Margit was my first wall. Malenia taught me humility. Well, a few things helped. Keep one flask for panic, learn guard counters, and don't hoard spirit ashes. Use them to crack phases. And if you're returning, Night Rain, released in 2025, is a standalone Elden Ring adventure with new regions, co-op focus, and brutal Everdark encounters worth the revisit. Wrapping up the From Software picks for now, let's pivot to Lies of P. Released in 2023, Pinocchio gets a Grim Bell epic makeover, gaslit streets, and deranged puppets. Difficulty here is honest, but strict perfect guards refund chip damage and setup staggers, while greedy rolls get clipped. Exploration coils back with tidy shortcuts, and the lie or truth beats add a playful sting to your choices. Strengths, crisp parry windows, mix and match blades and handles for custom weapons, moody score, and boss set pieces that feel theatrical. The weak point of this game, I'd say late game spikes, a camera that grumbles in tight rooms, and systems that assume you'll parry or suffer. Still, when the rhythm clicks, each clang into a perfect guard feels like fireworks. Well, what helped me? Drill perfect guards on grunts, run a light handle with a blade, and use a legion arm to crack armor. Spend quartz on Purgan early. Which choice did you make and which boss stopped you cold? The next game on our list is Wuchang Fallen Feathers, a new entry in the Soulslike family set in a dark, late Ming Dynasty China. Released in 2025, it quickly caught attention for its haunting world filled with folklore-inspired monsters and a combat system that balances weighty strikes with agile dodges. Exploring its ruined villages and eerie temples feels fresh yet familiar, making it a standout in this growing genre. Its strengths lie in the atmospheric setting, detailed level design, and boss encounters that feel both brutal and theatrical. Weaknesses, some rough edges in animation, uneven difficulty, and mechanics that sometimes echo Dark Souls a little too closely. For me, the first encounter with the monstrous bird demon was unforgettable. I died so many times trying to read its wild attack patterns that I started dreading every screech in the distance. What about you? Have you taken on Wuchang's cursed world yet, and which fight left you on the brink of giving up? Leaving late Ming China's haunted villages in Wuchang, we dive into another crab's treasure, released in 2024. Don't be fooled by toy box colors, this is a real Soulslike in beach clothes. You're a hermit crab scrounging bottle caps and tin cans for shells. Difficulty is familiar, short stamina, tight iframes, and bosses that punish greed. What works for me? Shell swapping that truly changes defense, playful world building that still stings, and combat that rewards patience over panic. The weak point of this game, I'd say clumsy platforming, a wobbly camera in cramped caves, and a few late spikes that overshoot the tone. Well, one habit saved me. Swap shells for resistances instead of chasing big numbers, and plan an escape lane before you pull. I bind sprint where it feels natural and land a charged poke after a safe roll. Restraint wins underwater more than bravado. Have you taken the plunge yet, and which piece of trash became your favorite armor? After leaving the quirky ocean chaos of another crab's treasure, we arrive at the bleak world of Ashen, released in 2018. At first, its faceless characters and minimalist style might look too simple, but once you step into the wilds, every fight feels tense and every victory hard-earned. It's a different flavor of Soulslike, less flashy, more about atmosphere and the constant feeling that danger is only a few steps away. One feature I really liked is how strangers can quietly drop into your world and fight by your side. No menus, no big notifications, just another wanderer who turns your lonely trek into something shared. Combat is tight and stamina-based, the world cleverly connected, though the storytelling is light and animations a bit stiff. And when you play solo, the silence can hit harder than expected. I do have a small trick to make life easier. Stick close to allies when possible. Splitting up usually ends badly, while staying together makes tough encounters feel far more manageable. So would you rather face Ashen's wastelands alone, or trust a stranger to watch your back? From Ashen's bleak roads, we move to Mortal Shell, released in 2020. At first it looks like a smaller Dark Souls, but it adds a smart twist. Instead of building a character, you inhabit shells, fallen warriors with their own stats and skills. That idea changes the rhythm of combat, invites experimentation, and gives the game its own identity. It earns a spot here by proving the formula can feel fresh without sprawling maps or endless hours. Strengths, weighty combat, a grim mood, and the freedom to swap shells to suit your style. Weaknesses, a short campaign, thin enemy variety, and animations that can feel rough next to bigger productions. Even so, when it clicks, Mortal Shell captures that tense, rewarding loop Soulslike fans chase. I found a simple way to breed easier. Don't marry one shell. Test them early, bank actions often, and learn to harden mid-combo to steal momentum. That mindset turns stubborn losses into clean wins for me. If you dive in, which shell feels most natural? From Mortal Shell's weighty duels, we move to Hellpoint, released in 2020, a Soulslike in hard sci-fi. You wake on Irid Novo, a derelict station where cults orbit a black hole. As the station turns, spawns shift, doors open, and events pop up. Instead of castles, you're on catwalks and in machine chapels, carving shortcuts while the void watches. That sky clock and the industrial dread earn Hellpoint its spot. Strengths, moody atmosphere, linked zones, drop-in co-op, and a breach network that makes fast travel part of route planning. Weapons invite tinkering, and the shifting cycles keep halls tense. Weaknesses, janky animation and hit detection, uneven performance, and a story that favors mood over clarity. If you jump in, here's what helped me: align breaches early, bank actions before long pushes, and watch the sky clock for event windows. To hand a favorite weapon and learn stamina breakpoints that helped me more than min-maxing. Have you walked Irid Novo's rings yet? From Hellpoint's cold corridors, we jump to the gunfire of Remnant, to released in 2023, a Soulslike that trades shields for rifles, dodge, reload, punish. I love how worlds remix between runs and archetypes define your role, and 3-player co-op turns fights into coordinated scrambles that blend earns its spot. What I enjoy most is the buildcraft, pairing archetypes, weapon mods, and rings to sculpt a style, then chaining staggers and weak spots to shred bosses. It invites experimentation and is replayable. Downsides, solo spikes, the odd bullet sponge, and RNG-gated items that delay builds. The story sets mood more than meaning, and the UI feels busy at first. What helped me? Upgrade one main gun early, keep a control mod ready, and never drain stamina, save a slice for the panic dodge. In boss rooms, I pick a safe lane and loop through it to reset aim. If a wall won't budge, re-roll the campaign for a new route or bring to friends. The tuning favors teamwork. What's your go-to archetype combo? From Remnant 2's co-op chaos, we drop into the Surge 2, released in 2019, where the safest gear is whatever you cut off. Limb targeting makes fights like puzzles. Hit soft parts to finish fast, or break armored limbs to farm parts for a set. Jericho City is compact yet dense, with loops and shortcuts that snap. For me, the cadence matters most. Measure distance, spend stamina, then a clean dodge into a combo. Strengths, crisp melee, meaningful upgrades, builds that visibly change your rig. Weaknesses, camera tantrums in tight alleys, spikes, and a story that favors mood over answers. I grin at a perfect parry, then a drone flattens me when I show off. What keeps me sane? Tag armored limbs early, overcharge implants for buffer, and root through med bays more than pride. I bind parry where it feels natural and warm up on patrols before arenas. Muscle memory beats raw stats. If you've roamed Jericho City, which weapon class clicked hand do you target for fashion or function? From the Surge 2's limb-chopping grind, we jump to Star Wars Jedi Survivor, released in 2023, where Souls-like tempo meets lightsabers and force tricks. Stances shape each duel, single for precision, duel for aggression, cross-guard for heavy stagger. Kobo's hub folds back with secret doors, and traversal wall runs, grapple, mounts keeps the pace lively while the risk-reward pulse stays. Standouts, crisp parries, readable telegraphs, and exploration that pays with perks and echoes. Less great, launch performance wobbles, uneven spikes, and some backtracking bloat. I still grin when a perfect deflect returns blaster bolts, but sloppy stamina turns Jedi Knight into scrap fast. What helped me? Pick to stances and commit, upgrade stims early, and open shortcuts early. In tough arenas, I treat fodder droids as batteries farm force, then pin elites with parry into crowd control. If you've roamed Kobo's canyons, which stance felt best and did any boss make you nudge the difficulty? From Jedi Survivor's Saber Duels, we glide into Death's Door, released in 2021, an isometric Soulslike where a crow with a short sword clocks into Reap Souls. It drops big builds for clean timing, compact levels, and puzzle-touched exploration. The mood leans melancholy, the bosses are sharp, and the pacing stays brisk. That focus is why it earns a spot. Highlights: a crisp dodge roll, readable telegraphs, and a world that loops back as you unlock gadgets. Upgrades feel earned. Weak points: a fixed camera that can hide ledges, bits of backtracking, and limited build variety. This is about mastery, not min-maxing. To make it easier, I plant light seeds so pots become one-time heals, put early points into haste for safer repositioning, and fight on diagonals to keep foes visible at screen edges. Betty in the Snowy Peaks humbled me until I time-charged Bow punishes after her big whiffs. Which fight tested you most, and did you stick with sword, daggers, or hammer? From Death's Door we drop into Blasphemous, released in 2019, a side-scrolling Soulslike steeped in Spanish Catholic imagery. As the penitent one, you cut through Custodia with a heavy blade. Pre-dues replace bonfires, loops snap back on themselves, and relic text drips bleak lore. Few games commit so fully to guilt, penance, and stubborn hope. What works for me? Clean hitboxes, punchy me culpa upgrades, and platforming that adds spice without stealing focus. Art and choral sounds sell the mood, while exploration pays with rosary beads, prayers, and sword hearts that reshape your kit. Weaknesses: some picky jumps, draggy backtracking, and a map that takes practice. My way to breathe easier: rush me culper shrines, keep one survivability bead, and treat prayers as burst windows, not spam. Mark ladder loops the moment you see them, thinking laterally opens Custodia. If a root stonewalls you, retreat, level, return. Piety helps, planning saves souls. Which relic changed your run? From Blasphemous we step into Lords of the Fallen, released in 2023. Its identity rests onto overlapping realms axiom, and Umberland, a lamp that lets you peek, pull, or cross between them. Die and you're dragged into Umbral for a last chance. That risk-reward loop earns its spot. What clicks for me? Weighty weapons, gothic vistas, and routes that coil back with smart shortcuts. Co-op is solid, and the lamp adds puzzle spice to combat. The weak point here? I'd say uneven spikes, a busy UI, and some performance hiccups. A few bosses lean too hard on ads. When lamp play and parry timing line up, it hits that stubborn Soulslike high. What helped me? Raise stamina and vitality early, bind the lamp somewhere comfy, and scout umbral paths before big pushes. Yank umbral parasites mid-fight to crack elites, and bank vigor at vestiges instead of chasing one more pull. Stuck on a boss, co-op, and treat umbral as a flanking lane, not a panic button. Hopped realms, yet which one feels like home? From Lords of the Fallen's realm hopping, we pivot to Nioh, to released in 2020, Team Ninja's razor-edged Soulslike. Its difficulty is clear: enemies pressure with strings, key drains fast, and bosses erase you for a mistimed burst counter. Add stance switching and loot depth, and you get the classic loop: learn, die, adapt, repeat, only faster and nastier. What works for me? Snappy combat, 3 stances that reshape every weapon, and key pulse that turns recovery into skill. Yukai abilities and the burst counter give risk-reward, while shortcuts and co-op soften spikes. The weak point of this game, I'd say cluttered loot, a busy UI, and early one-shots that feel cheap until systems click. How I stayed sane: treat key pulse like breathing, pick one weapon first, and practice burst counters on sub-bosses. Don't hoard elixirs, pack paralysis or lightning talismans, and drop benevolent graves when a mission stone walls you. Which stance did you settle into, and which Yukai gave you the most grief? From Nioh 2's razor pace, We rewind to the roots with Demon's Souls Remake, Bluepoint's 2020 PS5 launch. Sleek visuals and fast loads, yet the core stays faithful. Strict stamina, mean ambushes, and lonely treks between arcstones. This is where the template solidified. Corridors teach spacing, mistakes sting, and world tendency quietly ups the pressure. What sings? Crisp hit feedback, Boletaria's dread, and roots that coil back with tidy shortcuts. The weak point of this game, I'd say uneven spikes, hello, flame lurker, fussy lock-on in tight stairs, and a few bosses that feel more puzzle than duel. Still, when a gate thunks open, shoulders drop that classic Soulslike relief. Well, heading in, keep grass weight light, practice backstabs and parries on basic knights, and don't rush tendency. I clear 1-1, then dip into 2-1 for quick upgrades. It smooths the climb. My oh no moment was the meters on that skinny causeway, one slip and, bye. What humbled you first in Boletaria? From Demon Souls, we drop into Hollow Knight, released in 2017, a side-scrolling take on Soulslike. Death stings, you lose Gyo, a shade guards it, and the walk-back tests your rooting. Hallownist has no quest arrows, just benches and a map you assemble. The difficulty is steady and fair, learn paths, unlock loops, and the combat begins to flow. What I love is clarity, readable patterns, a dash with real iframes once earned, and charms that reshape rhythm from quick slashes to spell control. The weak point of this game, I'd say early rooting can overwhelm, and backtracking without the right pins gets confusing until the layout clicks. Well, for a smoother start, I buy a quill and pins early, bank Gyo at stack stations, and pick one progress lane at a time, green path, then City of Tears instead of scattering. Practice nail pogo on simple husks. It turns hazards into stepping stones and saves runs. Which charm combo finally made Hallowness feel like, okay, I've got this. And the last game in today's list is Black Myth Wukong, released in 2024. Oh, it turns Journey to the West into a punishing Soulslike where timing rules. The staff flows from quick jabs to heavy sweeps. Dodges have tight iframes. Every arena says, learn, die, adapt. Repeat that loop is why it belongs here. What shines? Lush Chinese vistas, folklore-soaked enemies, and animations that give each hit real weight. The weak point of this game, I'd say a twitchy camera in wide spaces, difficulty spikes between regions, and early performance wobble. Still, when the rhythm clicks, combat becomes a duet of patience and aggression that keeps you leaning in. Well, a small tip that saved me. Keep a sliver of stamina for a last dodge. Bait with light taps, then cash in with a charged thrust. Don't hoard transformations, use them to crack ugly phases. Mark a safe lane, circle to reset aggro, and bank upgrades before one more try. Did Wukong keep you up at 2 AM? After clawing past Ornstein and Smuth, Father Gascony, Sekiro, and Millennia, I still get that shaky hands, goofy grin rush when the victory screen hits. How many have you cleared, and which boss stole your weekends? If you like this vibe, stick around, subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me what top list to do next.
Yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings, I'ma be